He'll be with me. He'll be with me. Na, 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 dee. Mm-hmm. 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 Hello, everyone. I still, well, the screen editor kind of loves me a little bit, so I had to turn it on to fix Tom's screen. So give me 1 second. I'll get him looking beautiful here. It's already a handsome man. Hey. But also, I'll take out, someone's like, I can look good with the ladies. Oh, I had you
yes, our giant 27 to 40-year-old female demographic that we have.
Hey, don't put it past them, Tom. All right, there we go. Fixed Tom's screen. There we go. Sweet. Oh, yeah. Hopefully everything's sounding good. Cool.
I hope I sound good as well. I hope we all sound good.
Oh, yeah. I think we're good. We're good. Let me get out of studio.
Excellent.
Excellent. Well, folks, this is a unusual Commander Shipp show because I was deaf on Wednesday. My sinuses, many of my friends know how terrible they can be for me, but this was like I can't I guess trying to say that it's everyone I've ever had happen all at the same time is not that's a little exaggeration, but it's not that far off. It was miserable. So I'm really glad we didn't do the show because it just got worse. So it was like mild to start the show, and I was like, or when we would have started, I was like, maybe I could try to. Had we gone on in an hour, I would have been dying on air. So I'm glad I listened to my body. So, but
that's a professional tip, everybody. Listen to your body.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
Yes.
And Tom was gracious enough to help reschedule, so we did it. So now that's why we're talking to you on a Sunday afternoon and not on our usual Wednesday night. And there was already a lot to talk about, and then Thursday happened and Friday happened. So, I guess it was also on Wednesday. We would have gotten when did the HBO Max news drop? I think it was Thursday morning.
I think that was Wednesday, I thought.
I think it came in late. So we would have had to add it. Yeah, we would have had to add it in. So we would have still maybe gotten to it. But then, Black Panther 2 news, and then just so it's gonna be a show. I wanted to talk about some of the castings and things that happened, but I mean we'll get to those but we may probably not really gonna expound on those too much just because there's other bigger topics to talk about.
Yes, but in short, just take your Adderall, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to be that kind of show. We're going to be all over the place.
All right.
Today.
As a reminder, hey, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, I can see you. I mean, not see you, but I can hear you. So we love talking to you. If you have questions, throw them into the chat. So if you throw it into the Facebook chat, if you throw it into the YouTube chat, I can see those, and we'll try to respond to them live. And we definitely try to repeat that on air for the people that end up listening to this in the podcast version later. If you end up sharing this with your friends, like either on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, your name's going to pop up on the screen. So that's a nice little shout out and tribute to you thank you for sharing our stream. And if you've never liked the pages, not as far as like liking the content, I mean, it's like, but if you've never hit like on the Nerd Union Facebook page or on the Twitch channel or YouTube, if you hit that as well, you also get a nice little notification on the screen. There's like a shout out to you. Thank you for doing that. You may not know it, but those little things help us out as small time creators. So appreciate it. All right. Black Panther 2
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, electric. that's probably what it's leaning towards now. That's the track it's on. So last week he talked about Marvel's decision to move forward with Letitia Wright, Shuri going as taking on the mantle eventually. What that would look like in Black Panther 2, we're still not exactly sure, but that was definitely going to be somewhat of the plan. It's like, okay, she'll take the mantle, and I've been writing an article that keeps changing because of the last week and a half. I was like, oh yeah, let me give you some things to think about for why this would be a good move. So there's before we even get to Wright's thing on Twitter, let me at least address one elephant in the room. And this, again, if you want to read this, it'll be an article as well. I understand that, like when we say T'Challa, like long live the king, Wakanda forever, specifically for Chadwick Boseman, he represented more than just Black Panther. And I'm like, yes, it's a commercial property. Yes, it's a Disney property made $1 billion. Like those are all things can still be true, and him still have had a major cultural impact for the Black community. So I understand. Like there's a photo on Twitter that I referenced in the article about. Batman's been recast X number of times. Joker's been recast X number, Superman, so on and so forth. I'm like, yeah, but those would never have to come after a death. And I've been spending the last week, and there might be an example I have not thought of yet, but I've really been trying to dig. Like, has there ever been an example of a major character, like the lead character in a movie franchise, dying and needing to be replaced mid-production or in the middle of a saga? And I just have not been able to find it. Supporting characters, it's happened a variety of times. And again, it's not trying to belittle. I don't mean this to belittle the side characters. I'm just saying, but usually, if your main character, your main trio, whoever that might be, is still intact, so changing out who are supporting character or side character usually doesn't have that big of an impact. Or a mentor character, as example. So like Dumbledore switching from, I think it was the second movie on or third movie on.
Yes.
And then like the Oracle in the last movie of The Matrix, like things like that. But usually not a Keanu Reeves kind of example, or even you think about the Joker. Yes, a huge character, but it's not Christian Bale dying off. And again, they were able to finish the movie, before that happened. So there's just really, again, I've been trying to find one. I have not found a good comparable example.
The only thing I can think of off the top of my head, though it wasn't a death, it was Mark Hamill's accident, which then caused them to do the whole snow monster scene.
Right.
Yeah, that is challenging. That not in the middle. The Crow.
Well, yeah, but again, so big for that movie. And I have found one or two one movie examples of someone being in one production, and obviously maybe that killed any chance for future things to happen. So I have found examples like River Phoenix. I forget what the name of the Dark Ones, I think was the name of it. It was I think that was I can't remember the name of it. It has never actually come out on a home release. You've had to go watch it on festivals, just because it's just incomplete. So they're like, here's 80% of this movie, and then usually people that present it at festivals have to get on a cue card and be like, and here's me reading out what should have happened in this scene to help you fill in the gaps. So I got examples like that, but I don't really have franchise ones. I say all that because will Black Panther come back? Yes, I do think if you have $1 billion franchise, there are certain stories that while Shuri jumping in to replace T'Challa's spot in those, I think eventually we will get another T'Challa, but just not right now. And again, I know it hurts because we finally had our guy. We finally had our I mean, I know some people like to call him the Batman equivalent. I really don't. I've never really liked that. But if you're talking about as far as intellect on the in more a cunning, clever kind of way, maybe back in that way, or strategist might be another way to say it. I can definitely understand why you were going to be excited for things he was going to do in future movies, and now that's been tragically cut short.
Yep.
but it will happen. We got 3 Spider-Mans. How many? I don't know how many super. Like, that Twitter comment was correct. It's like we got tons of Bonds, we got tons of Superman, tons of Batman. I think as a mantle, this will eventually happen. It's just not going to happen right now. And again, you think about the shortest time between Batmans I think we've had is 6 years. Superman was about 19. It was 19 years. I'm trying to think, was there any other? Joker was 8 years. And again, that might be the best example as far as at least from after a death and then recasting into a new saga or new franchise. So that might be the time frame that we're looking at. So maybe you get Black Panther 2 and 3. But I threw a couple examples out there how we might be able to do this also. Because me and Tom have been talking about Wanda quite a bit in WandaVision and the upcoming Doctor Strange. It wouldn't be crazy to think that shenanigans happen.
Yeah. Part of me hopes that doesn't happen. Like, they don't just retcon it away and do like what was that movie with about the alien invasion that was a sphere, and in the end they all just wished it away. Starts with a C, I think.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Me, Mr. Movie Encyclopedia, is having... Oh, no. Dang, I could see it. Nell asks, would Paul Walker be an example of Fast and the Furious? Yeah. I think that'd be an example. I think the other thing, though, is that they benefited because it happening... Oh, sorry. Oh, I don't mean it like that. Sorry. I would say the one positive is that it happened at the end, toward the end of the franchise. Like, was it the 7th movie, I think is when it happened in? And now they've had Fate of the 8, which is their 8th movie, and they're about to do their 9th movie. So at least there was a way to transition them at the end of that movie and then go into the other subsequent movies. Whereas, like, if it had been Paul Walker dying after Fast and the Furious, the first movie, maybe they'll just switch and lean on Vin Diesel at that point. Back what was it, 2000, 2001?
Well, in fairness to that question, this was it the second Fast and the Furious? No, Too Fast, Too Furious was still, but by the third one, it was Tokyo Drift. Yeah. It was just a completely separate group of people. So then you knew you had like, oh, we can switch this up. Fast and Furious is a concept more so than a team.
Than the person, yeah. The family team thing came in more and more to play after, in 4 and 5, and then family.
Family.
He just says it over and over and
over. By the way, the movie's name is Sphere. And that was actually...
Okay,
it is Sphere.
Samuel Jackson, Dustin Hoffman,
Sharon Stone.
God. I knew that.
And Huey Lewis as the helicopter pilot.
What?
Huey Lewis.
Must have wanted a cameo. Yep. It's like, but you had you're in Back to the Future. You got a little. It's just too darn loud. Oh gosh, we still need to do a Back to the Future rewatch so I can talk to people about how trash that movie is. I know, yes.
Wholesome trash, but trash.
Wholesome, but it's still trash.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, I will be excited whenever they cast the next Black Panther. That's gonna be a hard search, and I think they just need time to grieve, because this year is this is just not the greatest environment to have to grieve losing someone like that. But then two, I think they want to figure out a good way to bring him back. Yeah, Tom.
I mean, that's actually the thing that bothered me the most about his passing. And actually, somebody unfriended me over this, which is both infuriating and hilarious. Because she's just like, oh, this person should be Black Panther. Oh, this person should be Black Panther. It was like 2 days after he died. I'm like, give it a week.
Yeah, I was
please.
I think you and me both were saying, like, I do not want to hear recastings right now. We said that on the show. I was like, I am not interested in hearing that. La 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 la.
like, yeah, it's someone died, and like families have lost a person, fans have lost a person. You know, this is it. Man, this is like the thing that really irks me about America and capitalists. Sorry, I'm going to put on my Bolshevik, my my Lenin part or my Red Party shirt on. But the like immediately they're like, oh, we need to figure out who's going to replace this person now that they're dead, and it's just like, no, we should maybe just take a moment and recognize the fact that they're dead and no longer with us.
Yeah. Breathe.
And then we can talk about the, you know, what's going to replace them or how we're going to move on with that story. Ugh, people.
Just simmer down. But yeah, and the reason I wanted to bring that up is because there's going to be an intersectionality of sexism and that comes up in it, and I've already been seeing it happen. So this is going to be, I'm pointing this directly at the fanboys that are probably going to go a little too far in defending the future casting of a Black Panther. Like I especially as a black man, I emphasize with the hurt that's happened. But don't fall into like a misogynist trap to have that conversation. You can express your discontent at like losing out on the opportunity without shitting on Shuri. But
yes,
no sooner had I said that, and the words escaped my mouth. Like, I don't know how many people remember. Like, for the listeners, I'm very much an atheist, but God, there's some times where I feel like there's someone up there just, oh, you just said that, huh, Kenneth? Well. Yeah, no sooner had I said that in either in my mind or on the Facebooks. Letitia Wright retweeted a popular anti-vaxxer on Twitter, and I'm also going to call it a specific other thing here in a moment. And this Twitter handle, I'm not even going to recount their name, is rather problematic, not just for the anti-vaxxer comments. They've also got a litany of other transphobic things happening on that page. So it's like, maybe dig into the people that you're retweeting a little bit more for you. And I can understand sometimes you get a tweet sent at you and you agree with something that you say, so you shoot it right back off. I'm just gonna aim in on the anti-vaxxing stuff for just a moment. This isn't the time. This really isn't the time. No. I understand you might be nervous. So that is fair, and I'm gonna talk to my black folks here for just a second as well, like, because I've seen some people talking about historic testing and things that have happened on the black community, and like, I also understand that as a concern, but also it's 2020. Like you have the ability to do your own research, you have the ability to wait and see how things turn out. Right, so and you're not even going to be the first people to take it. I know there've been some people that are seen like Dr. Fauci advocating for the black community to get in there first because of our rate of like cases and stuff like that. So I understand where some of that concern was coming from, but don't let that turn into like how do I want to say it? Yeah, don't let that fear let you get succumb to like some crazy conspiracy nonsense. Like it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be a little afraid. But if that starts turning to getting you down to dark pathways, we've got an issue.
I mean, the trust gap is real, though.
Oh yeah. But
yeah.
And I would argue it's more media driven than actual scientists and doctors, though they have their hand to play in that as well. If we're talking specifically for the black community, there's things they've done that have not garnered them much trust in the black community. Like, so it's not imagined, but specifically for this vaccine, this is a poor time for some of those things becoming like there's a lot of things coming to a head at the worst possible time.
Yes, hence the year.
Yeah, hence the year.
Which it takes heart. A friend of ours, Scott had mentioned that technically, pedantically, 2020 is the end of the last decade. and the next decade starts. So this is just, putting a terrible button on the teens.
Terrible button on the teens. Does that really start the decade? Because I thought it'd be no. What?
So
I guess it depends on how you. Because you could say it's the 20s, or the well, no, you can't say century there. No. So I guess that's why I'm confused on that distinction, because I would say, like, my thought would be 2020 started that new decade because it's the 20s.
If you're a child, though, you're not in your first year until after you're a year old.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're looking at it that way.
Yes.
I don't like it at all. I don't like it. All right, Tom. All right. So I'll say this to Letitia. Apologize. I don't think deleting your accounts, as we've already seen, is the best course of action. Like if you're gonna be on social media, like take this. And we can talk about mob. We can talk about mob stuff here in just a second. But like, take your hits, apologize, and move forward. I forgot what Cardi B said recently. Like a week. I can't remember what she said. It was like a week ago. And there was no like, oh well, what I really meant was, she's like, oh no, my bad. I messed up. That was, and I'm like, damn, that's gotta be like the quickest, like most succinct apology I've seen on social media ever. There, I mean, if you can go find it. I can't remember what happened. I'm sorry, so I can't, because it's been a week. But I just remember the apology standing out, and other people also kind of commenting on, like, damn, that was a good apology. Like, it was so refreshing to get that. What is it? We got it. Does the count start at 1 or 0? Oh gosh, is this gonna be like 3, 2, 1, go, or are you going on? Are you going on 1? Or are you going on? Oh gosh, look what you started, Tom.
I'll let people fight that out.
Yo, you're just gonna let the people fight that out?
Yes, actually, the count does start at 1, because how often do you start a count with 0?
Oh yeah, it's a count. You would not count 0. So yes. The count does. God.
I'm going to take a victory sip on that one.
But the 0 is a value in this sense, because that year is not a 0; it is a value. It is a measure of it. It is a measurement. It's a year. So you would count it. We're never gonna figure this out. See what you stop it, Tom. Tom. I'm mad at you. We got so much to cover. We got to. Okay. So yeah, just I guess we want to put a bow on Letitia. It's just apologize.
Yeah,
move forward. Go learn and go ahead.
To quote Cardi B, yo, sorry everyone. My bad.
Oh, did you find it? Is that what?
No, just
okay.
Because I derailed you into whether 0 or 1 is the start of a year.
Yeah. And then for the folks saying cancel Black Panther 2, y'all, I can't right now. I just know. There's so many cancels happening right now as far as like I was about to say Mandalorian. I meant Fantastic Beasts, and Aquaman 2, which we'll get to not today. I'm not getting into that today, but
and also, who the hell wants like? No one's done anything horribly wrong. Like, there's a good man died during the production of it. There's no reason to cancel it because of that.
Yeah,
it's it's not like Kuglin is like a turf or something like that.
Yeah, I just like it's weird. So folks, just have a little patience. Now, holding her feet to the fire about her comments, I'm fine with that. Like, if you want to, and that's why I kind of wish she hadn't deleted her social media accounts. But maybe there's a torrent of stuff I didn't get to see on there, so I didn't get to jump in there and see how bad it was. So maybe there's like like a torrent of nastiness that happened, maybe in a Kelly Marie Tran kind of way. In which case, yeah, I could see why you'd want to jump off social media. But yeah, holding someone's feet to the fire for dumb comments, fine with that. Canceling the movie for this just doesn't seem like enough. Okay, all right. But I'm sure that's not going to be the last we have to talk about that. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
right.
There's going to be plenty of opportunities.
All right, Tom, I'm going to hit you with some quick hits. Just want your impressions super quick.
Arms up.
Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have that friendly feud on Twitter. It's quite fun with Hugh Jackman's coffee company and Ryan Reynolds' gin company. But Hugh Jackman might have scored the biggest of all by getting Ryan Reynolds' mom to endorse his coffee. Your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think that they crossed the line that people love crossing, which involves someone's mom. Like I just want a tweet from Ryan Reynolds going like, dude, that's my mom, uncool, and then move on. But no, I've been fond of their feud for a very long time. I don't know how it started, but I'm glad it did. And yeah, this is good for Ryan to like bring his mom into this.
Yeah.
And part of me, what I love the most is imagining this situation unfold, where it's like, mom, oh hi Ryan, listen, you're gonna get a call from Hugh Jackman. Just say yes. It's cool. I'm all for it.
And the commercial is really cute too. Like it's like their feud is like, yeah, it's fake and manufactured, but I also like, or not fake and manufactured as far as like, yeah, I know it's not a real thing. It's just kind of like, man, of the things that have happened in 2020, like this has got to be one of my favorite things that keeps on giving. Just having their verbal back and forth on Twitter. And also the hope that maybe he'll come out of retirement to do a Wolverine and Deadpool 3. But, that's...
Or maybe he'll get around that and just do Logan instead of Wolverine. Technicalities. Being technically correct is the most type of correct that exists.
Indeed. We've talked about Birds of Prey a lot on this show. And we like it. There might have been one or two things we've adjusted on it, but we like it. It's a good solid movie. And we'll eventually get to it, in 3 weeks with the DCEU rewatch. But Rosie Perez has had it with the ageist jokes. And she makes a good point, because you go back and rewatch it, she's just kind of getting hammered left and right from the rest of the crew about her age. Yeah, your thoughts, Tom?
I have a few. So I am personally against, as I grow older, I'm against ageist jokes more and more. I think it's pretty weak. Just, oh, you're old. But also I think though that her example was not that great. Like bringing up Helen Mirren. It like the entire joke of Red and Red 2 is old people in an action movie. Like that is the premise itself, and it's kind of a joke, though. It's, oh, these people are still awesome. Isn't that funny and cute that these old people can murder people just as easily now as they did before? So, yeah, I'm fine with it. She may have a point, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I have a very strong feeling about this one, other than, the writers can do better than just doing old lady jokes.
Well, you bring up Red, and I think the thing is that there's an endearing part in Red that didn't happen in Birds of Prey. So it's like,
yes.
Are those jokes being used in a way to endure these two characters together, or are they just cutting at one another and there's nothing actually, is it just like a cheap joke that doesn't really do anything for these characters going forward or in the plot or in the story? All right, I think that is the problem in Birds of Prey. Like when we talked about it kind of feeling like two movies a little bit, of like This feels like a Harley Quinn movie, and then Birds of Prey are almost do it, or almost. I don't want to say they're not completely involved, but I was like, but they're almost doing their own thing, and I think that helps fuel it. It's like, yeah, there's characters poking at Rosie's character, but like it hurts. It doesn't really help create cohesion.
You know, and actually, I'm looking forward to our rewatch because I haven't seen it since it was out in the theaters. But that was possibly one of my few criticisms of the movie, was that it did seem more like a stream of zingers than like it seemed like in a lot of ways the movie was just there was too much peppering of zingers in there as opposed to like character development dialogue and other things like that. Like there are some great ones, like, you know, the scrunchy scene, etc. But
yeah.
But a lot of it was just kind of, you know, setup after setup for a one-liner.
Yeah, they fell into some Marvel joke writing issues.
Yes.
And
because you know the DC movies are too dark. We have to make them less dark. So jokes, right?
That's not
jokes
what your
make
problem is. Gotta write better characters. Oh gosh, and you got me teed up.
Sorry.
I know.
My bad.
Tom, how would you feel about Heimdall coming back? Idris Elba's character.
Sure. You know, why don't we retcon things? I mean, you know, there's only one Marvel rule. Only Uncle Ben stays dead. So, I'm okay with the idea. I'm just kind of curious as to how that's going to happen. And is it just going to be like, okay, fine, he's alive again? Or is it going to be something that he never really died, but, and you know, like there's a subplot within Love and Thunder where they have to rescue him or something like that?
I'm hoping maybe he's just in the movie in like a flashback scene or something like that. Like it's just like,
oh, there's
you know, because and the reason we're bringing this up is because it's been teased by Taika Waititi, and there's some rumors happening out there that it may be coming back, but nothing confirmed yet. Like nothing, we haven't seen him on the set of down in Australia or anything like that. So come on, Marvel, just let people just
I mean,
people...
actually,
go ahead.
I'm more interested. Yeah, I agree. Let people be dead sometimes, I think is what you were going to say.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, there's a thought that I had for a hot second of, man, wouldn't that be fun if they brought back Idris, but he was in Heimdall, but he was just like some mid-level SHIELD agent or something like that. And Thor sees him and he just gets very confused and huggy with this guy. Who's not having it.
You remind me of someone. Get off me. Get off me. Oh, Idris Elba is a new SHIELD director or something like that. I mean, or like assistant or something like that. Ooh.
He'll be the new Coulson.
Can't Coulson just be the Coulson? Why don't they bring Agents of SHIELD into continuity? All right, don't get. All right, I won't get started on it. All right, I swear I won't get started. All right, we have.
So,
oh, go ahead.
Are we going chronologically, or are we bouncing still?
I think we're back in chronological. So.
Okay.
Bum bum bum. If you've seen The Croods, you'll get that reference. Croods 2. I haven't watched it. I don't really have any plans to watch it or review on it, but God.
I was actually, when I first read this, I'm like, why is Kenneth talking about Croods?
Why am I talking about Croods 2? Hold on, there's a... What? What? Yeah.
The voices are talking to Kenneth again.
Oh, the puppers. Croods 2 might be on track, or sorry, as of the time I wrote that, I didn't get to actually check the weekend box office. But there's a chance the Croods 2 was going to beat Tenet's opening day weekend numbers. And generally, some other things to keep in account of that. There's some more theaters that are open, but there's also more that closed. So like the actual number is kind of hard to get a good grasp on, like how many were open when Tenet did its opening day weekend versus what the Croods 2 has right now. But even if that's the case, there's a good chance the Croods may still over time even beat Tenet's box office numbers, which is very interesting. That we were talking earlier that Tenet was going to be the not the savior of theaters, but maybe at least pump a little more energy into them, and it did not really meet that. If Croods ends up being that, I'll be a little beside myself.
Yeah, that'll be. I mean, I don't think it's not gonna. I don't think that there's one movie. I don't even think. And yes, this is probably blasphemy. I don't even think Wonder Woman's gonna be the thing that saves theaters at this point. Like there isn't a movie where thoughtful people about the pandemic are gonna be like, screw that COVID. I'm gonna go see Medea 75. Medina gets the Rona, and that there's just. I don't think that there's a movie that exists that I think will get most careful-minded or concerned citizens to think twice about not going to the theater or staying at home.
We'll re-release John. I was about to say John. Was I going to say John Connor? James Cameron's Avatar, and that'll do it. Watch everybody rush back in there for that CGI Fern guy.
Yes, and and then follow it up with Titanic, and then.
I mean, oh god, no! That might mean he might beat Avengers Endgame. I can't have that. No.
No.
I'd rather re-release Endgame before I would do that.
Or re-release Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1. Iron Man 1.
Yep.
Tom, have you seen those Christmas movies on Netflix?
No, I've made a personal journey to not see them.
Well, I can't really tell the difference between those and Hallmark movies. No. Actually, let me tell you a funny story that happened yesterday when I was in the game store. It also has like a movie section, but a woman came in and was like, "Could you be able to look up a Hallmark movie?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, if you know the title of it." She's like, I can't quite remember it." I'm like, and I had to bite my tongue because the first thing that came to mind was like the title would help anyway. And that's where I kind of feel about Netflix's holiday movies is that, yeah, it's got Netflix money behind them, but it's still like I'm having a trouble telling the difference between them and Hallmark movies, with the exception of like, all right, Vanessa Hudgens is in one of them. They snapped Kurt Russell into 2 of these things now? Okay. Get that paper, Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt's got grandchildren to pay for. And probably actual children. But
the actress from The Christmas Prince has expressed desire to make it into a shared Christmas universe. And if you've watched the show long enough, you know how we feel about shared universes. There's only one right now that's working. It's the MCU, and that, even when we say things aren't things we would like to change, it's not necessarily at the MCU as a thing. It's more of like individual movies or the Marvel Disney process, or the Monster Universe didn't work. Universal's DCEU is a thing we will continue to see. Trying to think, there's others. These are not the only ones. There's a Power Ranger shared universe coming that we talked about. Good Lord.
Yep.
Which I don't understand how it's a shared. It's already okay. Anyway, so no. This is don't let this happen. Like don't tease execs. Like, I know you need more movies to be in. I know you need more. I get it. Just make another sequel. Y'all are good at doing that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's it. And besides, like, who wants a universe where it's just filled with You know, 20-something women who have been living in the city for a while and go to the country, or whatever the plot is usually for these Christmas movies. You know, it's now time for us men to figure out, are we the woodworker in flannel, or are we the big city suit guy?
Because those are the two choices. It's never.
Yep, there's only two type of men in this world.
I was gonna say every woman in the movie is basically Felicity, or it's like every late '90s sitcom of a woman that moves to a new city, has like a starting as a junior executive at such and such brand. Like, yeah, it's every single time. Every single time.
Yes, it's every person is either Felicity or Ally McBeal, and then finds their Luke or I don't know, what's the name of the dude from American Psycho?
Oh, Christian Bale's character?
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Can't remember his name, but yeah, I know. I know what you mean. All right. So we did not. Well, actually, when we were talking Black Panther, we didn't get to talk tributes that happened. So November 29th, last weekend, on what would have been Chadwick Boseman's 44th birthday, we posted this on the Nerd Union page. But if you watch Black Panther on Disney Plus, they have changed it to a Chadwick Boseman tribute for him, and it shows some of his behind the scenes things and just shots of him in the doing Black Panther stuff. So nice touch. I don't know if that's going to also extend, I don't know if that's going to be permanent or extend to, like, if you buy the Black Panther DVD now, will the new prints have that in it? I'll be honest, if they do something like that, I might trade in my copy and go grab that one just to have it for a sentimental value. But also, kudos Disney. That was a good touch.
Yes. Yeah, well, and it's nice too, and it's noteworthy because there's only one other person they've done something like that for.
Oh, Stan.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me started.
So yeah, listen. Let's cheer up Kenneth and talk about someone else that's died instead.
Also, toward the end of last week, David Prowse, who has been the behind the stunt actor for the Darth Vader suit, and at one point voiced him until they understood that was not a good choice. It's not a knock on David, just James Earl Jones. I mean,
yeah, it's
yeah. But there was good tributes from the rest of the Star Wars cast on different social media accounts. I also want to point out a Star Trek tribute from Doug Jones, because he never got to meet David Prowse, but he talked about, like, hey, being another brother that's behind the mask, because Doug Jones. Most of you probably don't know what Doug Jones looks like, but you know who Abe Sapien and Saru is. Saru from Star Trek. Just gave a nice candid, very cool tribute to him on his page as well. So definitely go check out, like, Jones's. Hamill did a good one. Rosario Dawson did a good one. Billy D and Carl Weathers.
Billy D.
Yeah. And also, I forgot, George Lucas actually did a good one as well, which is like, yeah, there you go, George. Getting out from the shadows and talking to us a little bit. Thank you, George.
Yes. Thank you for deeming us with your thoughts.
Let's see. And last tribute news we'll talk about, so we can stop talking about sad things. Anton Yelchin, who played Pavel Chekhov in the newest Star Trek, in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe, passed away. Was it right before Star Trek Beyond came out? So has that been 3 years ago? And now Star Trek Discovery's got a little Easter egg in there. You have to when you go back and look at the first episode at Starfleet, there is a USS Yelchin docked, flying around in space, which is very nice. Very nice touch. Like, oh, there you go. So a lot of people saw the Voyager Easter egg, but
but did people see the Nog Easter egg?
I don't know. I think that's also in this article as well. I did miss it the first time. I saw the Voyager one first time. I had to go back and read when I see these two. Then I had to go back and be like, there they are. It's cool. So, In that news, though, Star Trek 4 is likely not happening. Noah Hawley, he does Fargo, the FX series, which is really good. I haven't started a new Chris Rock version where they're playing the two gangs against each other, but I'm also hearing good things about that. But Hawley's been committed to doing this for a while, but it seems like Paramount does not want to pull the trigger on doing it.
I think in some ways that's a good idea. I've been thinking a lot about, somebody tweeted that the reason why Star Trek hasn't moved on into the future is because right now no one can really imagine a utopia beyond, which is kind of heart-wrenching, but in reality, and we keep on going back to like, well, what if we reimagined the TOS? And now I think maybe we need to take a break and just kind of recenter as to what Star Trek is. Like Discovery is getting better, but it doesn't have, like, the Orville themes feels more Star Trek-ish than Star Trek Discovery still to me.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a longer conversation. And me and Tom, me and Kyle are going to have it on Monday when we do the Trek podcast. But I don't disagree with you. That's a longer conversation. I feel like they focus so much on character that some of the greater sci-fi concepts that we like to chew on have been eschewed for. And I think just like the setups in season 2, even though season 2 wasn't the best, the setups in season 2 and now the payoffs that are happening in season 3 have definitely got me invested now. So I'm like, I'm in, like, cool. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
But I also understand but there's hardly any room to just have some good exploration.
Yes, like there has in all 3 seasons of Discovery, and I'm not saying I'm not entertained. Discovery is a great popcorn TV show. But not one of these episodes has kept me up at night thinking about, like, the moral, ethical implications of an episode, which TNG and DS9 and even sometimes Voyager did that for me.
Yeah, I will say
Tuvix. But
which we didn't get to talk about that when it was making the rounds on the internet of Cortez going around AOC talking about it, and we'll have to come back. One thing I will say, and I think it depends on where the season ends at. So Discovery might be able to move into this a little bit more in season 4. I do think the question they are asking is a very interesting one, though. And
what is Starfleet?
Yeah, what is Starfleet? Because we have those questions per episode in the other series, and there might be a good example I'm forgetting, where it's like someone did something questionable, so now your ideals are in question. And it's like, okay, but that usually lasts for like maybe an arc, maybe an episode. Doesn't tend to extend an entire season. That's you're questioning the entire value of Starfleet. So Discovery going into that head first, I mean, like, no, like, and it's also kind of playing with audience expectations of what Starfleet should be. And you get into that utopia idea. I also think it's kind of poking at that idea, like, because I've always had an issue with that. Because Picard would just like talk about we don't have a need. Like there's always a couple of one-liners that are peppered into Trek about how the utopia or how the modern Federation works and so on and so forth to make it so grand. I'm like, then why are all these other things still happening? If it's that, and I'm not shitting on Trek in that way. I'm just saying, but that's always been a thing that bugged me. Like it has always bugged me. So for Discovery to get into that, and we're like, no, things have not always been rosy, and now you're seeing what has happened once something actually disrupts that delicate balance that was holding it together. I find that very interesting. But yeah, when it comes to the higher, go ahead.
Oh no, actually, finish your thought.
No, yeah, but just when it comes to the higher, or not higher concepts, but just like existential questions that are not just about you as a an organized body of, but just like as far as humanity and place in the world, place in the universe, I agree with you. I do miss those conversations.
Yep. My fear is that season 3 and possibly season 4, we're going to find out that the Federation is actually quasi evil, and then Discovery's going to have to break from them and do some other things, because there's all these heavy-handed hints being thrown around of, whenever the Federation does something for you, there are strings attached to it, and I'm like, are they going to make the Federation evil, and Discovery's going to have to fight them?
I don't. Okay. If I'm just going off season 3, I don't think that's going to happen. But I can see why you would think that based off season 2. And even honestly, even stuff happened season 1. So like, you're not wrong. Like, and obviously I can't say anything until we get to the end season anyway. But like, you're not wrong. But I don't get that. But I can, you could lay out well, look at all these things that have happened with Section 31, and then they got a mandate from Star Trek to do things that ended up having the issues, and see, if anything, I think they might be talking about the bureaucracy of the Federation more than, like the bureaucracy of this crap.
Oh yeah, like how bureaucracy is basically making them evil or do the wrong thing for the right reasons or something.
They're making compromised choices because of the bureaucracy, but not because they're it's undermining them.
That's actually also one of the things that's been needling the back of my head during the show. Is like, okay, so there's this lean and mean Starfleet with like maybe 20-30 ships and limited resources and other things like that.
Yeah.
And yet they still kind of have this like galactic view of how they should be doing things, and I'm part of me is just like, maybe if you're the Starfleet that I think you should be, you should maybe start focusing regional first and then expand out, or I don't know. We'll see how this whole burn situation happens.
Yeah. All right, Tom, you're gonna step away for a sec. And then
Just 1 sec.
For 1 sec, and I'm gonna jump into Andy Samberg on the Oscar diversity rules. So if you don't know, Oscars have made a systemic change to attempt to get more diversity into the picks that happen each year. As far as like how many, and I don't want to say like, oh, you need to have your token black guy or your token brown person or a token woman or token gender expression into the movie for it to count. It's like, it's not exactly what they mean. Sandberg is. There's also been people complaining even about these minimum requirements, which is not honestly that hard, and many movies already hit this to a certain degree, although they might need to do a little more change. And I want to pull the quote that he says exactly. Also, the Oscar thing, people having issues with that is insane. Like the parameters, if you look at them closely, you could have the widest cast in the history of cinema and still very easily meet them by just doing a few key roles behind the camera. It's people who have problems with it. If people who have problems with it, they can fuck off. And he's right. When you look at the Oscar rules, it's not that hard. And again, it could be black director, black producers, and things like that, or like a diverse set of production crew, and still have a very white ass cast. So yeah, like I appreciate the Oscars for doing that, and I think it is going to make people be more attentive to how they're hiring people and who to bring into it if they want to have a shot at having an Oscar. And other productions might not even care. So which again, I think there might be some more Screen Guild things that need to happen for this to be more effective. So it's like, if you just do it for the Oscars, that's not really like. I think if you get into the Directors Guild, Screenwriters Guild, and different things like that, I think that'd be a bigger effect on having changes in the movies. Because if you just do the Oscars, every movie's not trying to win an Oscar, so they may not care about that. But if you have some shaking and moving at the guild level, that could be huge. But
so now,
go ahead.
Oh man, sorry, I was just going to interject a joke that we now need to start calling certain movies whack for a white ass cast.
No, I'll take it. Whack.
Yep.
White ass cast.
But yeah, like it's not that hard to do it. Like as you were saying, even if it's like if you're doing a movie about Iceland, then yeah, why not have people of color in the doing audio or other things like that. There's so many roles when you're talking about making a movie that there's plenty of room for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of room.
Yes.
Unless your name's Lashana Lynch. And I'm kidding. There's a string of articles that came out over the past week talking about she had applied for many MCU roles, didn't get into any of them, and also she kind of retells another story about Brie Larson having kind of similar things happen to her. Although you can honestly chalk a lot of that up to Marvel's direction at the time that they were. So a lot of these auditions were happening like after Age of Ultron, things like that, where they just didn't have the women roles set up yet. Should they have had?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been hard to get them into that, but Marvel just wasn't there yet. So
there's only one type of woman allowed in the MCU, and that's Eastern European.
You're not right. So yeah, they're fixing it, but they got some work to do. Yeah, they got some work to do. She also talked about her enjoyment of being able to take the 007 mantle, right? Because that's the thing I don't think people are ready to. It's like she's not playing James Bond; she's taking the 007 mantle, and she is very clear about like what that means for her. And what that could mean for the franchise going forward. So like if there is another 007 movie, it's not going to be 007 James Bond. It'd be I forget what her character's name in the movie is. That'd be very interesting to see how that plays out. But also just she's getting tired of the Black Bond comments because she's like, that's not who I am. And even if something goes forward, it's not. That's like, okay, sure, spiritually if that's what you mean. It's like, but that's not who they brought me in to be. I'm gonna be my own person, and I'm like,
yes,
yeah, cool.
And also, there's only one Black Bond, and that's Idris Elba. And anyone else who plays it, they're somebody else. They're just 007.
Yeah, I honestly think the only reason they're not doing that now is just because of age. But gosh, I wish we could go back 10 years and give him the opportunity.
I don't know about that. Like, Roger Moore was like 50. When he started playing James Bond, or like in his late 40s.
But the Bonds have got to be more athletic now.
Does he though?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
See,
and it's mostly Bond, or so it's mostly the Bourne Identity's fault. If that hadn't happened, you could still have an older Bond running around like a Pierce Brosnan. But as soon as Bourne Identity happened, having an older Bond went out the window.
See,
like it might be a bit ageist.
I'll counter that with Pierce Brosnan, because Pierce Brosnan was the first, like action-y Bond compared to the rest of them. And I think it could be interesting that if we kind of went back to a more cerebral, like let's figure this out as opposed to let's punch our way through it.
And I'm not against that.
Yeah.
But I also just think there's a number of movies they want to get out of a Bond. I think 2 to 3 is the minimum, and it takes 2 to 3 years for each of one of them to come out. So, how old is Idris?
I was 55, maybe.
I mean, look. Come on.
Not Elba. He's 48.
48.
What am I doing with my life? He's like about my sister's age. So yeah, you could totally, because how now I need to find this out. Our age. And
while you look that up, let's see.
He was 45 when he did Live and Let Die in 73, which was, I watched that over the Thanksgiving weekend. So 70s with disco action soundtracks during the ski scene. Sorry.
I mean,
but
I would love to see him in it. I'm just going off of looking at how they've been hiring Bonds in the past.
Sure.
The past two, and like they usually like to get him at least a little younger so they can get more movies out of him. It's very much like a Tobey Maguire issue. It's very much like it's like that's why I think they went super young with Tom Holland. It's like we want to be able to get if he wants to keep doing them, we want to be able to have him as young as possible to get multiple movies out of him. But if we hire him when he's in his late 30s, going into early 40s, like it's gonna be an issue. Like very quickly, we get to a trilogy of movies and then be done.
So they got 10 years out of Roger Moore, and like I'll pit Idris up to a fitness test against Roger Moore back in that day, any day of the week.
Well, you know what? Okay, now that's an interesting. Okay, that's an interesting thing you hadn't thought about. Just 40 years of sports medicine and so on and so forth, and he just takes care of his body. Okay, all right. I will reserve judgment if they choose to do that. There was some John Boyega rumors out there, and
ooh, that could be interesting.
It could be interesting. I feel like he would.
I don't think he has the gravitas yet. Like in every movie that Idris is in, you're just like, this guy's in charge of the situation. Where like at least so far, Star Wars has kind of ruined that because he's always the guy. Because his character was kind of just along for the ride in a lot of ways. Yeah. And even when he was in charge or trying to take charge, things didn't go the way he wanted it to.
I feel like as an actor he could pull that though. Having seen some of his smaller stuff, I feel like, but it is. And I'll use this as an example because there's a level of John David Washington's blackness in Tenet that a lot of people haven't gotten to see it. So, and this isn't spoiling anything, but
one more week.
The way that he moves through his environment, it's like. Because he used to play, was it linebacker in football or was it running back or something like that? Still very much has that physique and moves like that in the movie. But he's not trying to be even though it is Nolan's spy thriller, and he is suave in the movie. Like he's got that it's like, oh, okay, there's some coolness to you, but you're still kind of fish out of water in this example. But there's just some subtle things. I'm like, oh, your blackness is still intact here. Like, it might be a little subdued because of the environment that you're in, which is not a surprising thing for a black person to have to do, but we'll get into that. But I was like, oh, this is like, okay, you're still pulling off spy, even though it's your version of it. So I think so long as, like, if you can get past the jokey John Boyega, like, that, again, that's what they made him as with Finn. And even like if you've seen Pacific Rim Uprising, Resistance, whatever, I can't remember the name of it was. Kind of has that same problem, that same Finn problem. It's like they trying to not a full jokester, but they kind of hit some of the same stuff. Mm-hmm. But like if you can get past that, I feel like he might be able to pull it off and still retain some of his elements in a way that makes sense in the Bond role.
You gotta diversify your bonds.
Diversify your bonds. Hey, if I'll push comes to shove, you always get Richard Adelaide in there. I'm sure he would fit right. Oh no, make him cute. Make him cute.
What?
Yeah, just get Marsh to play. Is it Marsh, right? From the IT crowd.
Oh God.
Yeah, just get him to be cute. It'd be beautiful. It'd be perfect. I'm like, are you gonna change every role to be black in that? I'm like, yes.
Sure.
We can get CCH Pounder as M.
And then what's his name? Who's playing Moff Gideon should play the villain, of course.
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? We should post some photos.
We're gonna make a treatment,
opinion, and that'll just be our like who we would cast in our all black James Bond movie. I bet but I bet you Black Twitter's already done this. I need to go check.
Oh yeah.
Hell, I mean, Idris, even if he doesn't play Bond in that version, could be like a retired 0.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like a Sean Bean.
GoldenEye. So I'm all for CCH being it, but actually I kind of want Giancarlo to play M. I want him to break. I want him to be a good character, like a good person. That sounds like a terrible way of putting it, but yeah, I want him to play the good guy for one.
Oh man! All right, we're gonna rapid fire for a few of these last ones before we get to our final topics for Wonder Woman 1984 and get some deep dive into Mandalorian. All right, so Godzilla versus King Kong was supposed to come out last month. The schedule is just atrocious, so most likely heading to streaming. Since it's a Warner Brothers property, I thought HBO Max was going to be like the de facto. Oh, sorry, not a Warner Brothers. I take that back. It's still Legendary Pictures distributed through Warner Brothers. So I thought HBO Max would be the default. I was like, okay. Apparently not. There is a bidding that's happening between Netflix and HBO Max, so we don't know for sure who's going to win that. If Netflix does do that, pull that off though, this will be the first 2020 movie that they've successfully scored onto the site that was supposed to be a theater release. It's not that Netflix hasn't won movies before, but usually it's happened in the pre-release time frame. This would be the first one this year that they've won and gotten it exclusively to their site for the 2020 slate.
I'll be curious to see how that pans out and if there's any fallout from that. Like, there's a part of me that wants it not to work if it means that, you know, end of 2021, 2022, we just ditch theaters altogether.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna talk about it. We're so close. So close.
Yep.
Actually, maybe I should have used that at the end, the pinning.
It's okay.
Tom, are you excited about an Amazonia movie?
Yeah. Well, it seems like I've been very curious about what they're going to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, if we get more General
Especially
Buttercup,
especially if it means General Buttercup shows back up.
Some more Robin Wright, I'd be down for that. So yeah, Patty Jenkins recently recently confirmed that it's going to happen, and gave us the time frame when it takes place. So this will be pre-Wonder Woman. This will be a pre-Wonder Woman movie. So yes, we will get Robin Wright back, Hippolyta going like the whole crew going full out, and I'm really really excited about that.
Yes.
Do you want Daredevil back, Tom?
Maybe.
Maybe? What do you mean maybe?
I like it's been 2 years since, and so like if they were to spin it back up, it'd be 4 years since we last saw Daredevil, and I'm going to throw some serious shade. It's not like any of the actors in the movie are working necessarily right now.
Dang.
But
also yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of would like to see it come back. I'd sooner see Jessica Jones than Daredevil.
Whoa.
Or Luke Cage.
Yeah, I would like them to have good like.
Because like Luke Cage had it all. Because it had like really good music. Actually, I mean, I will say Daredevil had better fights. But
wait, hold on. Let's back up because I'm sensing we may not agree on something. How do you feel about Daredevil season 3?
It was good, but not. Now they're all kind of. God, I watched this like 4 months ago, and now I can't remember.
Because season
anything
2
significant.
is the one that I disliked the most. It's when they get too much into the hand plot and Punisher like that. I feel like that's where Daredevil got messy. Season 3 got back to the basics of like figure out who you
whether
are.
or not he wanted to be, figuring out who he was,
like of his mom and stuff like that. Like I was like, oh, okay, this is all right. Just narrow back in, but like don't Don't be trying to do all the Defender, because that's what season 2 felt like. It felt like Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we gotta set up the Avengers.
Yep.
We gotta set up the
Avengers. It was
Avengers.
basically an introduction to a universe making tool.
Yeah.
So
and it suffered a lot for that.
I do think it was pretty good, but it wasn't as memorable to me as season 1, obviously. But yeah, if they could recapture some of that, and I'm going to say something super controversial. It's truthful, but very brave. I actually want to see a season 3 of Iron Fist.
Yeah, because it was getting better. They'd fixed it.
Yeah.
They were fixing it a lot.
They fixed it. And then they canceled it.
It's a darn shame. What are y'all doing? What are you doing? Oh, it hurts. Oh, it strains incredibility. Ah.
I mean, I'm part. The cynic in me is basically saying, this isn't gonna. It's not even gonna happen, because like, what is Disney gonna do? Be like, oh yeah, I guess we made a mistake by killing off all the Marvel Netflix.
Well, okay,
joints.
to be clear though, it's not Disney. Disney didn't do it.
Come on.
No. Well, I want to be. Hey, technically correct is the best kind of correct, Tom. Didn't you just say that to me?
I was saying that facetiously.
It was still it was still Netflix's choice.
True,
Netflix
but
I
have a feeling that Disney was just like, listen, guys, we're going through our own streaming thing. We're not going to share with you anymore. And Netflix was just like, crap. So they're going to probably take away this stuff. So maybe we should invest in Altered Carbon instead. And
well, they clearly didn't do that.
Wait, Altered Carbon came out in what, 2018, 2019?
No, what I'm saying is, if that was the case, why are you doing it? Okay, I guess it's into a whole nother. Next week maybe we'll talk about Netflix's cancellation versus renewal bullshit, because it's about to drive me up a wall. Altered Carbon's like it's not the last straw, but there's several straws. There's several straws.
Yes. So many straws.
So many straws. All right. So yeah, there's an art campaign that's happening right now. So if you look up the hashtag Save Daredevil, there's a lot of fan art that's come out specifically with that hashtag in an effort to get the photos seen and shared. So that has also helped support the artists that have made that. But 2, hopefully having a visual campaign to make get the eyes of Disney, bring these back. And I assume they're going to come back in some form, because those are still profitable franchises. And Netflix has done the work of creating a base for you. So I have to assume that they'll come back at some point. Just whether it's actually going to be shows or not, I don't know. But I'd be surprised if they just stay on the shelf. Like Disney likes pulling in these other B-level heroes into different roles. Heck, Iron Man, people may not. It's hard to imagine right now, but Iron Man was a B-level hero, and I like Iron Man. Iron Man's cool. Iron Man's great. But Iron Man was a B-level hero. Y'all didn't know who he...
No, hold on. In the comic world, he was an A-level hero.
Oh.
In the movie world, he was a B-level hero. Uh-huh. Before the movies came out, that dude was everywhere. He was a co-leader of the Avengers. He was a financier of the Avengers. Anything there were only 2 sources of money.
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying Batman was a B-level.
No, it's not this. Hey, you know what? There's a better example. I'm going to give a shout out to Red Panda on TikTok. One of his followers posed the question of I never understood the Batman Iron Man comparison. Green Arrow is a much better comparison to Iron Man, and I was like, and he had the same face I did, but then some gears started turning, and I was like, oh gosh, yeah, he really is. We can get into that. Well, hey, we'll save that for the end. We'll come back a little bit later and I'll explain why.
Sure.
It's called a tease. All right. TEASE. Okay. All right. Is there anything else we missed? Yeah, we can talk about Miles Teller another day. I did not know he was going to play Goose. though. That's the biggest thing. Like they're talking about other things in the movie. I was like, wait, what? He's playing Goose's kid? What? Oh snap! That makes me want to see Top Gun like even more. Like I already liked how they visually were going about it, like the minimal amount of CGI in it. And he says there's none. I'm like, I highly doubt that. As far as the practical shots and stuff like that, I do assume those are as real as they can be. But to say there's none, I'm like, I highly doubt that. But him playing Goose's son, go ahead.
I do believe that most of the jet scenes are real because just knowing Tom Cruise's ego, he's just like, no, I want to learn how to fly an F-18 and I want to be the one flying it. And
they probably told him no.
No, actually, I think he did get to fly in that. Like, I will still stand by this. 90% of the reason why movies get made with Tom Cruise in them is so that he can do a stunt scene or do something cool.
Yeah, that's why he wants to go to space.
Fly a helicopter or something. Yeah. Yep.
But he ain't flying $100 million, probably more than that, fighter. That's
what? F-18s are like 30 million at best.
Okay, sure. What did you write him a check? Be like, yeah, if I fuck this up.
His production company probably underwrited it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, but yeah, that adds a different. I thought, at least going into by like watching that trailer and stuff like that, I was like, oh, he's raising a new crop of pilots and stuff like that. Adding Goose's kid into it adds an amount of guilt to start the movie off. That I'm like, ooh, this is getting into like, I have to applaud Creed and Cobra Kai for taking these like late 70s, 80s movies and like not just trying to like, oh, we're just gonna make a buck off a sequel real quick. But it's like really deciding like,
no, we need to make a story out of this.
We need to make a story out of this, and there's some threads that if we really think about like advance it to our time now, like what actually happened there, and were our perception of events that happened in that movie correct? So like I love that like so long as Goose's kid isn't in there just as a cheap guilt ploy, but it actually works. I think you could really see some like Creed, like Stallone with Michael B. Jordan moments when they're in the hospital, like some really good meaty dialogue that comes out of it. So yeah, it's kind of like a subtle thing. I think kind of they're talking more. These articles are talking more about the things happening production wise in the movie. I'm like, no, let's talk about that. I think that's a bigger deal.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'll be curious to see how that plays out. If it's actually thoughtful or just like, hey, let's throw this in there too, because this is just a really good member berry.
Remember
Goose? Remember Goose? How you killed him?
Oh gosh, Tom. That's accurate. Okay. Yeah, we said we're not going to really talk production notes a ton. Only things that are huge note. Sonic Hedgehog 2 is happening. And if you love Emerald Hill level on Sonic 2, you'll know it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Emerald Hill. So that is the subtitle for it. Spider-Man 3 has still been shooting in Atlanta despite the COVID shutdown in the schools. So go figure that one out. If you've been looking for that Rick Grimes movie, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, keep going. Just go ahead and skip. And I say that just because, gosh, I can't believe The Walking Dead is still on. It boggles my mind that it's still on. But now we're gonna get and I can't understand if it's gonna be a TV movie or not. But the whole Andrew Lincoln coming back to do a Rick Grimes movie is still happening, apparently. That's the only reason he left, because the idea was he's going to stop doing the TV show and just work on that movie. But has basically done nothing else since then. And last but not least, the Black Widow's sister in the Black Widow movie, Florence Pugh, the person who plays... it's not White Widow. No, maybe it is. Or Scarlet Widow. I can't remember what her code name is.
Yeah.
Because she's also been a Black Widow. But anyway, she's joining Hawkeye the Disney Plus series. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen there. I know we got a while before that show comes out. We're going to get WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki before we get Hawkeye, because Hawkeye just started, or was like one of the last ones to go into production. So it's still going to be a little bit before that comes along. But I'm very curious. Once Black Widow happens, the movie, like, what is she going to be? Like, what does that mean? Cool. All right.
So is Hawkeye the last of the original Avengers that doesn't have his own title?
Yeah.
Well, Hulk technically. Technically
Ruffalo
did.
Hulk didn't, but Hulk has had. So yeah, I guess Hawkeye will be the last one to get his own thing.
Yep, even Coulson got his own thing.
Does it count though if he's like regulated off to like obscurity though?
But if you believe the show, everything that he's done has been very important and integral to the universe.
Right. All right. We're gonna move to our main topics, and I started this off. I wrote it as Wonder Woman 1984's $1 billion gamble. That's the reason I had it. That's how I had it titled, because one, I pulled that from an article talking about the numbers that they're giving out by not having it in theaters. But again, they weren't going to make $1 billion in COVID in a COVID environment. So let's not pretend like that was going to happen. But then the HBO Max news dropped that every single movie of their 2021 slate, including Dune, which has been the one we've been pining for quite a bit, is going to, and like Fantastic Beasts 3, I'm trying to think what else, but yeah, all of that is going to be still come out to theaters, but it's also going to stream on HBO Max. And I guess I'm getting used to being wrong because, we thought like, what was Tenet going to do? Was Tenet going to help out at all? And then Mulan, is that going to be the one that really put the start the nail in the streaming services? But I think this is it. And I think December 25th, Christmas Day, when Wonder Woman launches, like that's the start. Like that may actually be the start of the end for theaters. Yeah. Tom, I guess I'll just let you go because I might ramble for a bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping, at least for me personally, it won't be the start of the end for theaters, but because there's still something. There's the experience and the excitement of going to a movie theater that you just don't have from clicking stream on whatever device you're using and sitting down in your couch. Granted, my popcorn is better than at the theater, but
whoa.
Whoa. Yes.
If by popcorn you mean steak, then sure, but
that too. Hey man, I use real butter, so
you use some ghee. You use some clarified butter? You use some ghee?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I see you, Alton Brown.
So, yeah, I'm super excited that that's the one frustrating thing I've had about these times is like all the theaters, rightfully so in some ways, we're just like, yeah, we're just not going to show anything. If we can't make that, movie theater weekend opening money, then you're just not you're gonna have to wait until we can. So I'm kind of happy that studios are saying, yeah, we're gonna take the hit right now, and hopefully still make some money or break even at least. And then, when things get somewhat more normal again, we can open up theaters back up, and I will be there, and you'll probably be right next to me as well. Yes. We need to make some cheesy, loving, hopeful ballad about that.
The song might already exist. Let's set the hunt down a little bit. I agree with all that. And I think the other thing too is like, we'll have to see what Hulu and Netflix do going forward Like which ones do they end up buying? How many more studios start selling theirs off to the streaming services? Because I feel fairly confident that this is not going to boost more streaming services to open up. Like we already talked about that ecosystem being very fragile as it is. So I don't think as much as someone might want to open their own up, like oh yeah, we need to really invest some things in the Peacock or CBS All Access or get another service out there. Like now someone might be dumb enough to do that, but I don't think then just dumping movies that are going to come out in 2021 is automatically going to fix said thing, or even get you on it long enough to to enjoy it. But I could see more video on demand rise as a result of this. I would not put it past Disney to do this, to pull the Warner Brothers strategy as well and start putting more of their stuff on there.
See, I think it makes more sense for Disney to do that, because if you think about their core audience, or at least Disney proper titles, all of it's family stuff. And going to the theater with family is an expensive and sometimes obnoxious endeavor for both the parents and the people that are in the theater. So, I think it's going to be strange. I think you're going to see a division based off of demographics as to where some of these places go. Mm-hmm. And, you say like nobody's dumb enough. I can guarantee you Sony is talking about,
myself.
What?
I corrected myself.
I 100% think that Sony is still considering, well, what if we do PlayStream for our PlayStations? And then have all of our Sony movies exclusively on PlayStream, so that will get them to buy more PlayStations.
No, yeah, you're right. They might do. I think honestly, I think that might be more out of a gambit to beat Game Pass, Xbox's Game Pass.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about the movies at that point. It's just more of like gosh, our service does not offer anything nearly compared to the Xbox Game Pass. Plus, they've added EA games, EA Play Pass into that as well. So like just the value. So that's where I could see Sony making a gamble like that to just compete with that service. But yeah, if that weren't a thing, Sony would still do it. You're right.
Yeah, and I mean it's been a few years since they've done. It's been almost 20 years since Blu-ray became a thing, and they're overdue for their own proprietary BS to push onto the market.
No. You want some UMDs?
Sure.
You want some memory discs? God. Oh, the things I've had to use.
I still miss mini discs. I love those things.
For those that don't know, outside of, because I don't talk about Apple a ton on here because we just don't really have a tech podcast or conversation. But as much as I shit on Apple, I had to give them the benefit of okay, but working with Intel to get Thunderbolt was very beneficial. Helped USB-C technology come along eventually, because USB was kind of dragging their feet for a bit. Like we don't need a all-in-one cable, and then Thunderbolt came out, and eventually okay, I guess we do need a. But there, with the exception of video production and high end space, because Sony's. As much as I hate Sony's media formats, they have been used pretty regularly in TV production spaces. So when they come out for proprietary, people will tend to flock to it in that way. But for consumer formats, they missed the with the section of Blu-ray. They missed the wave on that quite a bit. And even then, with Blu-ray, a lot of that's been and they probably couldn't have predicted that streaming was going to have such an effect on DVD sales as it did. So to be fair on that one, it's oh yeah, we don't know if internet's going to be up to par for that yet. So Blu-ray starts winning that, and that being the that being the winner during that makes sense, at least in that time frame. Now back out, and it's okay, but gosh, every time they come off a new really, come on, God. And I bet there's more. I bet there's some software things in there too I don't know about, but I'm not getting into that can of worms. Good Lord.
Sony's always been the worst in that regard.
All right. Yeah. So
let's talk Mandalorian.
I was gonna say we'll keep monitoring the situation. I want to be wrong. I want theaters to stay around.
Tom wants theaters to stay around. And I do think indies, to some degree, might have an advantage of things that they'll show that other theaters just won't. But I would be surprised if things open up back to the way that they were. I think there's just going to be some things that aren't coming back. There's going to be some that just aren't going to, we talked about those small town theaters that support an entire region, but I don't know. I gotta be honest. I don't know. I would like to know. But I don't know. I would like to know, but I don't know. What I do know, like Tom was getting ready to segue into, is Mandalorian. Now,
yes,
we were only going to talk, and I will say we might touch on Akira Kurosawa a little bit, but maybe save that more for another episode, just so we can talk about, because we were only going to talk about Sakatana's episode, but again, since we didn't get to do this on Wednesday, the Boba Fett episode also came out. So
yep, and my apologies for a hint of a spoiler Friday morning or Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man. Like, what's that supposed to mean? Did he do something? Did he get a contract? Did he do something? Like, stop it. So this is your warning. If you do not want to talk Mandalorian, or if you do want to talk Mandalorian, go get your friends, share the stream. We're getting ready to jump into it. So if you've been wanting to talk about the 2 episodes, yeah, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, Tom, you want to lead off?
Yeah, like this. So, episode 5, chapter 13.
Yeah, I can't keep
this is the episode that I was waiting for since the Mandalorian started. Since they started hinting at Ahsoka showing up. This is what I was waiting for. And actually, I want to jump into both because both episodes have this implication, but mostly Ahsoka's, that something bigger from the Star Wars universe is going to happen that I'm super excited about, and I hope it plays out. The Ahsoka episode basically said that I was wrong, and it is not a Yoda clone. He is a completely different person. And it was great that we got some background on Grogu and everything else. They, according to my ex-roommate, they've now made Grogu even more adorable, because now he makes that funny noise whenever they say his name. And everybody seems to like to say his name once he goes. But the cinematography on, I think that people have been super excited about the Boba Fett episode with Rodriguez directing, but honestly, Dave Filoni's job in Ahsoka Tano's episode was flawless as a director. I think, and actually, it was better than the other one. Yep.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair, because they're asked to do 2 different things, and that's why I really appreciated what Robert Rodriguez did in the Boba Fett episode, because they took huge advantage of the light. That was the biggest thing that was a stark contrast to me. I was like, wow, we're really gonna let this episode. We're gonna let this one be very bright, and we're gonna let you see everything. Like, he didn't really hide a lot of stuff from the audience as far as like the action and the set pieces for that episode. So I feel like if you want to say this episode was better, I'm not even. I don't even want to disagree with it. I just want to say I just feel like they were both very good, and I love the Kurosawa nods that are happening in it, which we might break down at another time. There's a shot that we shared on my wall and then on the Nerd Union wall to show the comparison between the Yojimbo, him walking into town, and just like the entire gang, or in this case the magistrate, like Ahsoka coming in to take on the magistrate and her hired muscle and power coming in, just very it's like ooh, not shot kind of was shot for shot homage and
some of it, yeah,
nod to that. The first scene, like if you understand why we love the cinematography and why, and I'll explain why I'm also championing Rodriguez a little more in a second. But the first scene,
the use of the fog, the lighting of her sabers on her and who she attacked, and then taking it off, and like that just created a great effect. That was just superb. I loved every minute of that. Seeing her, because you're kind of like, well, I think the first thing you think about is like, okay, but if she uses her lightsabers in that instance, she's gonna like, shouldn't they be able to take her down really quickly? And it's like, I think she thought of that.
Yeah, that's why they were off most of the time. She's like, on, dead, off.
You know. And then let's just talk Rosario Dawson.
She did a really great job.
She's so good. It was so good. She talked about how much she had looked at the Ashley Packinson. I can't remember.
Eccleston.
Yeah, Eccleston. Her performance as the voice actor for Tano. Not trying to just copy it, but just trying to like find inspiration and elements of it that would work for the live action, and it worked. It worked very well. It's like, no, she does not sound like the Ahsoka, like, so just get that out of your head. As far as like how cadence and like mannerisms are there, but as far as like vocally, that's like don't think that's what you're going to be walking into. But
it's also like 15 years after the last time we see Ahsoka, so.
So you imagine it should change a little bit. It's so good. I should be saying more. I should say saying more descriptive things about it, but
so why don't we talk a little bit about the implications of what happened in that?
Oh yeah, because I think I disagree with you a little bit on what's gonna. Well, okay. How about immediate implications, and then I think it's the far-reaching ones where I might disagree with you a bit. But go ahead.
Okay, so I'm actually going to wrap the two together.
Dang it, I just said the separate. Go ahead.
Oh, well, okay.
Go ahead.
So, first episode was, I'm like, okay, next episode we might see Ezra come back from Star Wars Rebels. I still think that you're shaking your head, but the fact that Ahsoka Tano is asking about Admiral Thrawn means that if Thrawn survived, likely Ezra survived that whole situation as well.
Okay, those are statements I don't disagree with.
Okay, I think that, and my thought was that the person that he reaches out to when he sits on the stone in the next episode that I'm not talking about yet.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to separate the two episodes. Okay, but go ahead. That's not what I meant. Go ahead.
Oh, so when you get into the next episode, I wasn't 100% sure until I saw the tragedy that I'm like, oh crap, something terrible is going to happen, of course. And so I think what's going to happen is that we're not going to see a rescue at the end of the season. We're going to see a rescue at episode 1 of next season. But the rest of the season is him probably meeting Ezra. I still think it's going to be Ezra. And I think he is going. So you've got Boba, you've got Mando. You're going to get Bo-Katan and her team, Ezra, and maybe Ahsoka to all help in a Grogu heist. And that's what I want the last 3-ish episodes of the season to be, is him collecting the people and prepping for it.
So we have 2 left.
Oh, is it 2 only?
It's 2 left because we're on episode after Boba. That was 6, so we've got 2 more. So the reason I'm opposed, and maybe they'll do it, and I'll be upset anyway. And we've been using Fantastic Beasts 2 as an example. And there's other ones. I need to pull some other examples of this. And the reason, so I agree with you that I think, again, asking for Franz, obviously, so that she can find Ezra and figure out what happened there and get him back. So I don't disagree with that. I think that is what that is setting up for. And as we've been teased that she's getting her own show, I think that's what that will be about. But to bring in Ezra into this, bring Franz into this story, I'd really have to question why.
Like, what does that serve Mando and Grogu's story? Because I've never gotten the sense that that's what that's about.
See, I think Ezra is going to be his teacher. I think Ezra is going to be the one that will teach, that ultimately will teach him. He's not going to go to like.
There ain't some other Jedi that can do this. There ain't nobody else.
No, because seriously, I would think at this point, Ahsoka probably has heard about, Luke Skywalker and his new Jedi Academy, and she's probably like, I'm not putting that kid into that mess. So.
Oh man.
So, I think she's keeping herself and any Jedi or Force-sensitive person that she runs into as far away from that Skywalker hot mess that she can. So, I really think it's Ezra's going to be the one that's going to train him, or it's going to be somebody completely new, which is going to be somewhat disappointing. But I really do think and hope that it will be good old Ezra.
All right, so then I guess even if he trains him, and then this is another thing is that if it is following in the Western and samurai traditions, like, not that the ending has to necessarily be tragic, that doesn't have to be. That's not necessarily a requirement, although it does tend to be a trend. Like, after this season and then possibly the third one, like, this needs to wrap. It really does. And I know
the Grogu stuff?
No, I'm just talking about the Mandalorian. I know people are going to be upset with me, and I'm like, you can be upset all you want, but based off the aesthetic and style that you've picked, if you stretch this out, you're going to get into that Fantastic Beast problem, right? And I think the most I could see Mando doing, or possibly getting pulled into, is the Mandalorian, like retaking the Mandalore, which I feel like,
I think that'll be the end.
Which I feel like is the most natural step, because you've got all the pieces there for Bo-Katan to potentially get the saber back, or maybe he gets it back, and there's an issue there because now he's got it and is conflicted on what to do. Maybe his covert comes back, at least gets reformed, because they're scattered right now and is able to come back together, and it causes friction between those two factions, and he's got to decide where he stands on that, or if he just decides to cede out of it and let them fight that out amongst themselves, which I think would be in character for him, because as much as he believes in the tenets of his faith, those things are getting questioned this season. In a third season where they do like, all right, we need to fully deconstruct this, like, because we've kind of let them be on the burner for it, but now we're going to really get into it. I feel like it would make a lot of sense. And again, Grogu getting trained is not really what my problem is. It's what is he being trained for? So bringing Ezra in trains him, and now we're going to go off on some gallivanting adventure to go take on Thrawn. Like, I would hate that in The Mandalorian. No. But if it happens in Ahsoka's show, fine.
Yes. I think it's going to be an introduction of Ezra, and then that's going to do its own thing. And that, like, the kid is going to be like halfway through. So let's say they do season 3 is the last season, or season 4 will be the last season. At some point halfway through the final season, Grogu goes away and maybe goes to the Ahsoka spinoff, or does his own thing. Who knows? Or makes cameos in Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. But I think that, I think it is going to end with the retake of Mandalore, and I also think it's going to end showing the New Order.
Okay. Get more about the New Republic and get really...
Yeah. Cool. But also the
start of the First Order. Yeah.
The First Order, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. If that's... I feel like that's... Again, I like Star Wars TV. I like that Mandalorian has proven that this is a concept that can work and work really well. I just feel like franchises have this tendency or desire to want to do too much. And like, you've got a good model, And I can't believe I have to tell them this. Milk your model. Like what? Like you have a stream service where you can pop up as many shows as you want to. You're already doing that with Marvel, so just make more Star Wars shows. Give us like live action Rebels or something. Like I don't know, whatever.
Well, I mean, listen, they just started filming on an Obi-Wan series, so also expect to see Rosario Dawson in that one. And honestly, I hope that in the Obi-Wan series, they have a moment which was shown in Star Wars Legacy, which I don't know. Did you ever read that comic series?
No.
Okay, so Star Wars Legacy is, yes, about the Skywalkers, but like 300 years into the future. And but one of the villains is also 300 years old and was a Jedi, and yes, and actually he fought Obi-Wan on Tatooine while Obi-Wan was defending Luke Skywalker, because he was one of the guys who was going to go and kill Luke Skywalker because he thought that he was just like his dad or something like that. And so I hope that there's that scene, and it's just basically we learn that over the 15 years that Luke was being raised by Aunt Beru, is it's like Obi-Wan was just murdering people on a weekly basis, protecting them.
It's like there's always some Moff Gideon trying to come and Moff Gideon type trying to come and use your blood for unspeakable horrors. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could be down for that.
Yep.
So I posted that. All right, so I'm gonna restate what I said on social media. So I'm Dave Filoni. All right, John. Now hear me out. Jon Favreau says, "I'm listening," and Dave says, "What if Boba Fett didn't suck after Empire?" Jon Favreau says, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
Yes. Yes. Though there was one thing, I felt he was too awesome.
Too awesome?
Too awesome when he put on the armor.
I just think it's like it's muscle memory. It's like, hey, I can, now if you want to argue age is a thing, like sure, but I think
no, I don't want to piss off Rosie Perez, but. No, like he hasn't worn that armor in what? I don't know how long after. No, it can't. Like how I don't know how far after Jedi this takes place, but it could be like 5, 10, 15 years. He got chewed up by a Sarlacc during that process, and he also had some country bumpkin who was using his armor for that time too. So who knows what?
Still Beskar though.
Yes, but Beskar
that ain't going on. That ain't having no problem, baby. His paint job ain't good on him no more, but the Beskar is still good, baby.
But like all the his knee gun.
All that working.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to, okay. That might have been excessive. Like the rocket thing's still working on that because obviously we've seen that still worked. But yeah, the extra components, him being able to move into it in it and the rocket, I feel like it's fine. But I agree with you on like knee gun, and I thought there was like one more thing. I could have sworn there was one more thing.
There were a couple things that were just like, oh man, he's doing too well with this. Like I don't mind him being a badass because we showed him beat the crap out. He killed 15 stormtroopers with a stick. So, and God, how Western was that shot with the two ships?
Oh, the pull from the back and
that was such a Western move.
I was aiming for the other one. It's like, were you? Because that would have made more sense. That one had higher elevation than it's like a higher altitude. And if you do get it, it's gonna hit like what are you talking about? That was a line I didn't think was necessary. But gosh, you just knew. I don't care what anyone says. Like, and it's like the title. Okay, this is why I sometimes would advocate for the title to come after the episode, because as soon as they saw the they said the word the tragedy for the chapter, and then he sits Grogu on the stone. I'm like, okay, he's gone. So like, I didn't care what
one way or the other.
So, yeah.
Either a Jedi is going to take him, or the Empire is going to take him. But something sad is going to happen.
Yeah. And I guess maybe you could argue like, well, there's also an artistic thing of like getting into that sense of dread. You know, I'm like, yeah, but I also didn't feel like they leaned into that either. So I don't know. But I mean, that criticism aside, the way the team interacted and having Michelle Yeoh,
Ming-Na.
Yeah. So I was going to say like, H the Shield. Having her back was great. Man, she did great.
Yes. Though there is one plot hole in that entire thing that bothers the hell out of me, and that's the jetpack. A Mandalorian who reveres Beskar like it's the body of Christ leaves his freaking jetpack after he sees like, oh, the Empire's coming to mess with us. We're at an agreement with these people I've been standing off with. Maybe I'll just pick this thing up as I'm running towards the kid, as opposed to just.
Well, they were trying to figure out what was happening first because they heard the ship. So, but I do agree with you. He should have went back and got it because, like, what?
Yes.
Because he goes up to the mountain twice.
Yes. And
no. Wait, hold on. Wait, how many times?
He does.
No. I'm gonna say that. Yeah, no, it's 2, but it might have been 3.
Well, the first time when he drops the kid off on the stone. Second time,
I think he goes back when he hears the ship land.
Correct. The first ship to land.
Because when it's because the slave 1 lands, so he's like, ow. Ugh. He's like,
yeah.
Are you done yet?
True.
They said that's when he first tests the shield and then finds out it's not gonna work.
And then he goes back a third time after they have their conversation,
but still
and then he goes back a fourth time to stop.
Gone.
Yeah.
All right. So in between the second and the third one, though, second Yeah, between the second and the third one, I think you know what the dynamic is between you and Boba. And it's like, so they're good. Like, regardless of whether you still trust them or not, cool. But you can go get your jetpack. It's like, surely there's enough time to do that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I get sitting it down, and I get maybe not going for it at the first moment when you're not sure how this truce is going to work. But sometime in the battle, you go get your like, hey, it's Halo, run around the map. At some point, you go get your power weapon. You know,
yep.
If only to like knock this thing out quicker. You know, you still got a rocket on your pack too. Like you were ill-equipped to be able to help out in that situation. You know, God.
But hey, if he had the pack, then the kid wouldn't have been kidnapped.
Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem that makes sense to a degree, but then it's like, still think he could have went.
Yeah.
Like him not having it makes sense for why he couldn't get the kid. The question is like, do you feel it was unreasonable for him to go back and get the pack? You know, and it could be one of those dumb brain things that they didn't think about either when they wrote it, and or you could also boss away as a brain fart on Mando in a very critical. Oh, excuse me.
Yep.
In a very critical moment.
So one other thing that I do want to bring up is that all these years, Dave Filoni is an awesome director for live action as well. I mean, he's been a spectacular animation director, and I know that sometimes that there are technical differences to where it doesn't translate into live action, but Christ, there is absolutely no reason why Dave Filoni couldn't have taken over, say, one or all of the Star Wars post-quills.
The sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong now, but we have to go back like, okay, what would they have known in 2015? And the answer is like, okay, he's done Clone Wars, but we haven't seen him do live action. I do feel like if they had not done, if the sequel trilogy was going to start right now, then yeah. Or hell, if it had been like Force Awakens comes out and J.J. Abrams is like, oh, I only want to do one movie, and they're like, how are we going to get to do Last Jedi?
Yeah,
and
like
Filoni's like, hey, I got it.
Fine, I can still give that to Abrams. That he did his audition with Star Trek, and got it. So, but yeah, Force Awakens, totally. Filoni probably.
Yeah, it's just a timing thing. They know what they know what they have now, so there is no excuse. Like if you're gonna remake them, or if you're gonna make new movie, like a new trilogy, just not connected to that. And if I hear, I don't think we'll hear Abrams' name, but like if I hear somebody like a Colin Trevorrow coming back in, and like.
Iron Man stuff. FYI, we got to be right back on Facebook.
Probably because Facebook is terrible.
There we go. Wait, maybe not. Nope, that's just us frozen. There we are.
Facebook is trash. Facebook is trash. Zach Morris is trash.
Yes. Yeah, by the way, everybody, we're making our announcement that we are moving to Parler. And
I don't think there's even authentication keys for Streamlabs on that. Streamlabs like, yeah, we're not making that. We're not doing that. go figure your own thing out with that. Oh man. So yeah, I feel like next episode is the heist. Well, I guess there's two heists. I
think
getting the crew back together, and then
next episode is the crew, and then maybe I think the next two episodes are going to be the crew, and they're going to be dicks and not do the heist until episode 1 of season 3. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Come on, are they really going to do?
I don't know. I'm the one trying to convince them not to do extra stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if they want to get this out of the way so they can get to more stuff next season. So.
Maybe. I don't know. Like I think what it's going to be is 2 episodes of him getting people together and also running up a debt of favors. Ugh. And season 3 is going to be rescuing the kid. Or let's review how Star Wars does things. The second series or the second season is going to be Empire. And it's already ended in one of the tragedies, and it's either he's going to fail the first time in this one, or it's they're not going to be able to do it in this, and it's going to be what's going to happen to Grogu, just like what's going to happen to Han.
I'm not going to get my Logan ending, am I? It's not going to happen.
The what?
My Logan ending. It's just not going to happen.
Okay.
That's what I would want, but it's not going to happen. Wishing too much.
I mean, there's part of me that thinks
gonna happen. You know.
I'm going to put money that he's going to die in the retake of Mandalore. He's going to die a Mandalorian hero.
I mean, that'd be cool too. Be cool. Pretty badass.
This is the way.
Yes. But if season 3 doesn't involve the Covert and Bo-Katan's faction having that rift, I'll be very disappointed. Because you've set that material up as rich. It's right there. Use it.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and that's one reason why the Mandalorian is not going to be the leader of the Mandalorians. Because there are too many that are not Westboro Baptist Church Mandalorians for them to be like, yeah, let's let the religious zealot do it, take control of this instead of. When you're right, you're right. And you are right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Unless we got any last Mandalorian go-backs or...
I need more of the Darksaber. And I definitely... There's part of me that really wants money on Ahsoka fighting with the Darksaber. But there's also money that Ahsoka gives Bo-Katan or Mando her lightsaber to fight because, stupid Mandalorian rules of a Mandalorian has to find a Mandalorian and you keep what you kill or whatever.
What is this, the Chronicles of Riddick now? Huh?
Yes, the Chronicles of Mandalore.
Oh, there goes my Fantastic Beasts example. There it goes. There's another one. Pitch Black, the Chronicles of Riddick? No.
Yeah.
Stop it. No. No. It's like, bad Vin Diesel. Bad Vin Diesel. So if Disney does that, don't get into Chronicles of Riddick territory. Stop that. Oh gosh, and they're both an ancient race of... Oh god.
The Chronicles of Riddick.
Furians, I think, is what the name of... Oh god.
Yeah, man, it's been so long.
I'm mad just thinking about it. I'm gonna come up with another list.
You keep what you kill.
Cool. That was fun. On
Yes.
Sunday afternoon now, turning the evening. Darkness.
Yes, it's the darkness.
Yeah.
Charlie Murphy.
Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. And the Wednesday show will be smaller, I promised. We will not have to talk about as much. But there was a lot that happened, and we just got more on the plate as the week went on. So. And
Wednesday we're going to talk about. Are we talking about the Bro King of the Sea? Yeah.
The Bro King of the Sea. So if you own Aquaman or have HBO Max and you want to watch that before Wednesday, I definitely highly recommend it. And then that's what we'll be talking about on Wednesday is our re-review of Aquaman. I think me and Tom generally come around the same spots, but there's a soft spot I have for parts of this movie. Because as dumb as it is, there's also some non-dumb decisions made in it, which is frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, this could have been amazing. Like, it's not bad, but it could have, like, all right.
So,
tuck it in.
Also, I do want to mention that, we're going to review Shazam after that, which actually rated higher than a lot of other films. I was very surprised at how high it rated in a couple of lists of the DCU movies. But Darla, who stole that movie, plays a young Angela Abar in The Watchmen. I did at first. Yeah, young Angela Abar in Vietnam is Darla.
Huh. Okay. Very cool. I did not make that connection at all. Nice find there, Tom.
Yeah, I was happy with it.
So yeah, go watch Aquaman. You have until Wednesday night, or I guess you can also watch it afterwards and watch our review whenever you get a chance to. So it'll be Aquaman this week, Shazam afterwards, and we'll do Birds of Prey leading right into Wonder Woman. Now, if you're wondering why we're not going to do Wonder Woman, well, we already did that this summer. So you can go back onto our YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook channels to see that video, and also on our Spotify to re-listen to the podcast of that. So if you're like, why aren't you all talking about it? It's like, we've already covered it. And the last one we did was Justice League, and that's also up on there as well. If you're inkling to listen to that, we'll probably talk Justice League again before the Snyder Cut comes out, but we won't be re-reviewing Justice League again because we've already done that. So we'll just link you to those videos and podcasts.
Spoiler alert on the Wonder Woman review, we both liked it.
Yeah.
So
it's really good. Someone pushed back on me a little bit when I was saying I had said a while back that I thought Shazam was or not Shazam, but Wonder Woman was the best thing to come out of the DCEU, and it's not even close. And someone was like, "Well, I'd argue Shazam was." I'm like, Shazam's not bad, but it's just run of the mill. So that's my thing. It's like Wonder Woman's transcendent, and if you fix one thing, would have been on like Dark Knight territory, whereas Shazam's not. That's what I mean by that gap. It's like it's not that Shazam's not good. It's just run of the mill. So it's enjoyable. Zachary Levi does a good job, but we'll get to that. But
yeah,
cool. All right,
Yep.
thank you. Sunday afternoon, we will be back to our regularly scheduled time on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. You can follow us here on Facebook Live, Twitch, twitch.tv/nerdunion. We're working on getting an actual YouTube URL, but you can help us with that when you like the page. So once we get past 100 likes, yes, it seems like a small bar, but we don't have those 100 likes. We got thousands of people watching us on Facebook and Twitch, but not on the old YouTube. So get us past 100, and we can get an actual Nerd Union URL for you to follow on that. But all three of those are available for you to watch us, and you can stream the podcast wherever you like to stream your podcast at. Until next week, I've been Kenneth. That's been Tom to Grow. We'll see you when we see you.